My mom suggested we skip the kids for Christmas this year, wanting a quiet break. I accepted it, though it stung, until I saw their house packed with guests, including my sister's new boyfriend's nephews. I snapped a photo of the $12,300 gift I'd gotten and texted it to my dad with a note. "You don't need this now." 40 minutes later, he was at my door with. It was one of those moments where words failed me, especially for my kids. I stood in the kitchen, phone in hand after my mom's call ended, scrambling for something to say that wouldn't leave them feeling unwanted. How do you tell a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old their grandparents don't want them for Christmas? Mom had made it sound casual, like it was nothing. Just a restful holiday, no kids, just calm, she'd said. I didn't push back. I just agreed, though she couldn't see my face. It hurt deeply. I was midway through icing gingerbread cookies with the kids, their faces sticky with joy. They were already chattering about Nana's Christmas tree. I held it together until they were asleep, then let the tears come. I'd been saving since summer, no trips, no new outfits, just a second job and tight budgeting. My dad had mentioned wanting a better car. His old one shook like a loose wheel. So I found a solid 2014 Civic, clean, dependable, just within my reach if I pushed hard. I bought it as a gift for them both, parked it at a friend's place, and wrapped the keys with a picture of the car. It was meant to be a big reveal. I wanted them to feel proud of me, to feel like I belonged again. I hoped they'd see I was doing all right. So I stayed silent when they asked me not to come. Maybe they just needed a breather. Maybe it wasn't about me. Until Christmas Day. I made waffles for the kids. We unwrapped presents. I kept up a smile, though it felt hollow. Then, around noon, I checked Facebook. There it was, my parents' house, full of life. My dad in a festive hat, my mom beaming by the tree. My sister with her new boyfriend, Sean, and 2 teens I didn't know. Later, I learned they were Sean's nephews, not even family. But they were welcome. I stared at the photo, zooming in. One nephew had his arm around my dad, like they were buddies. That's when I sent the photo of the Civic, shiny silver, still fresh.
He texted my dad one line. "You don't need this now."
40 minutes later, a knock rattled my door. I waited, picking up the kids' toys from under our tree, hands trembling, not from fear, but something colder, sharper. When I opened the door, there was my dad, face flushed, not from the chill. Sean stood beside him. My sister's boyfriend, a near stranger. The one whose nephews got an invite over my kids. Dad didn't mince words. He said if the car was really for him, he wanted to give it to Katie and Sean. They were planning a family, he said, and it'd help them start strong. He said it like I'd just agree, like I hadn't spent months scraping every penny for that Civic. Like I hadn't cried in the dealership lot after signing the papers. I didn't respond at first. I just looked at them. Sean avoided my gaze. Dad kept talking, saying the gift should unite people, that I was being petty over a mix-up.
A mix-up?
I asked if he knew what it felt like to lie to my kids, to say their grandparents were too tired for Christmas, only to see strangers in our place. My 5-year-old drew them a card. My 3-year-old kept asking if Nana had cocoa. I had to fake cheer and promise we'd make our own holiday, just us. Then I turned to Sean. I asked if he thought it was normal to bring random teens to someone else's family Christmas, knowing the daughter and grandkids were excluded. He started to speak, then looked down. Dad snapped that I was overreacting, that the car wasn't about me, it was about helping the family. I asked him what family. The one that forgot us? The one that skipped my kids' birthdays, but had space for Sean's nephews? He didn't like that. He said, fine, let's see the car. Maybe they could talk me into it once I cooled off. I said maybe. Let them hold on to that for a second. Then I said no. The gift wasn't theirs anymore. I owed them nothing. They needed to go. No. They stood there, stunned, like I was supposed to cave. The good daughter, the one who doesn't make waves. Then I shut the door. The knocking came back, louder. I stood behind it and said through the wood that I'd call the police if they didn't leave. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just said it. I watched them leave through the peephole. Dad was still talking, arms flailing.
Se entrar quietly.
I thought that was it. The next morning, I took out the trash before the kids woke. Walked to where the Civic was parked. Both back tires were slashed. I saw it instantly, the car tilting slightly. I got closer, hoping it was a mistake. It wasn't. 2 clean cuts, deliberate. Not a puncture, not an accident. Someone did this. It wasn't just damage, it was a statement. I stood there, silent. The lot was empty. It wasn't about the tires alone. T was about punishing me for saying no, for keeping what they thought wasn't mine to hold. I didn't call the cops. What could I say?
No proof.
Just a gut feeling my dad, Sean, or both were involved. Or maybe they said something to someone reckless. Either way, it happened because I set a boundary. The tow was $140. New tires cost $420. That was supposed to be January's food and fuel. I didn't tell anyone. I handled it. I always do. They don't get that. I manage, even when I shouldn't have to. That night, I sat at the kitchen table with my budget notebook, logging the tires under car emergency. I didn't call it vengeance. Didn't need to. I knew what it was. And I knew it wouldn't stop there. A few days later, I drove to my mom's unannounced. She opened the door like I was a solicitor. No questions about the kids. No how are you. I asked if she knew about the tires. She played dumb, then shrugged, saying maybe someone local had a grudge. That was it, no fake concern, just cold distance. So I left and went to my dad's. He answered but didn't invite me in. I asked about the tires. He gave that smug shrug, the one he uses to dodge guilt, and said maybe the car wasn't such a great idea after all. Then he chuckled. That laugh cut deep. I didn't say more. I just left. Driving home, every ignored birthday, unanswered call, and solo family photo hit me. The pressure in my chest grew. I realized I had to stop expecting them to care. New Year's passed. I didn't reach out. Didn't post. Just stayed quiet. But 5 days later, I got a call. Not from Dad, from Katie. Unexpected. She'd barely spoken to me since the car, hadn't even reacted to my kids' photos in ages. Her voice was oddly steady, like she was holding back. She said Dad had an accident. He was fine, no one was badly hurt. But then she dropped it. He'd been on his way to meet another woman. Not Mom. Someone he'd been chatting with online for months. Mom didn't know. I sat there, taking it in. My dad, who judged my single mom life, who called me messy, was sneaking around. And on his way to meet her, he crashed his uninsured car. He'd let the policy lapse in November. The other driver was suing, and he was liable for it all. Katie didn't say why she told me. Maybe she thought I'd feel something. Maybe she wanted help. I didn't offer any. That afternoon, Dad showed up at my door.
Alon, no Sean, no bravado.
He looked worn out, jacket wet from slush. He didn't speak for a long moment. Then he asked for help. The other driver wanted payment, and his savings wouldn't cover it. He needed cash. And if I still had the Civic, maybe I could lend it to him, just for now. He framed it as practical, like I was just being stubborn before. I asked if Mom knew about the woman. His face froze. He didn't answer. So I pressed. I reminded him how he mocked my loneliness, called me oversensitive for feeling excluded, said my kids were too much. I asked if he wanted tips on lying to his wife, the way I had to lie to my kids to cover for him. He stood there, wordless. I smiled and said I'd consider helping. Let him hope for a moment. Then I told him to leave. He asked if I meant it. I didn't repeat myself. He stood there, expecting the keys to magically appear. When I closed the door, he didn't knock. He just walked into the snow. It felt like my first real breath. Cutting off Katie's beauty school payments came naturally, no second thoughts. I opened our last payment thread and texted, "You're covering next month yourself." She read it instantly. No response for hours. Then her call came. I ignored it. She called again. Then a text, "Thought you cared about my success." Not just me, her and Sean. Maybe his nephews too. That word, us, said it all. She didn't just take, she expected it, like I owed her, like I owed Dad the car. I didn't reply. Left her on read. The next day, Mom called while I was folding laundry.
Il est titring.
Her voicemail said she was worried, wanted to talk. I didn't call back. She tried again the next day. I picked up. I needed to know. She cut to it fast, asking if I'd talked to Dad. I said no. She paused, then asked if I knew who the woman was. She'd found something, needed confirmation. I didn't give it. She switched topics, asking if I really wouldn't help with Dad's car mess. He was stressed, she said, and it was spiraling. No time for grudges. I said it wasn't a grudge, it was clarity about my place. I reminded her how she told me to keep the kids home for Christmas, how strangers took our spots, how no one checked on my kids' feelings. I asked when she last even talked to them. She had no answer. I said maybe she should figure things out without me, like I always have. Then I hung up. That night, the family group chat, full of recycled holiday memes and half-hearted birthday wishes, went silent. No forced Happy New Year texts.
No check-ins.
Nothing. For a moment, it felt heavy. But then I sat with my kids, cutting paper snowflakes, watching cartoons. Their laughter over something silly washed over me. I felt at peace for the first time in months. My sister stopped posting her curated selfies with vague quotes. Mom stopped sending random recipe videos. Dad vanished entirely. By February, it was real. We weren't playing family anymore. The silence became solid, not tense, not waiting to break, just there. No calls, no texts, no fake concern from Katie or Mom. Dad never followed up after I shut the door. But it didn't feel like loss. It felt like stepping out of a suffocating room. One night, after the kids were asleep, I scrolled through my phone's photos. Christmas shots of my kids grinning on the rug with gifts wrapped in old newspaper.
The car keys he never gave.
The slashed tires. The tow receipt. The Civic, fixed and gleaming. A quiet triumph I hadn't planned to celebrate. I swiped through it all, then opened a travel app and searched somewhere warm. I wasn't serious at first. But a deal to Clearwater Beach popped up, affordable, 4 nights in a basic motel. I booked it without overthinking. Paid with the money I hadn't spent on gifts. Some was meant for January groceries, but I'd stretched things. Like always. I told the kids we were going on a trip. Didn't mention who wasn't invited. We flew out late February. The kids had never flown. My 3-year-old fussed at takeoff. My 5-year-old slept through it. We landed to 72 degrees, palm trees, and gulls that didn't care about my past. The motel was simple but clean, with peeling paint and loud AC, overlooking a parking lot. But the beach was 2 blocks away. The kids bolted to the sand, like they knew joy was theirs to claim. We collected shells daily. At night, we ate microwave popcorn and laughed at silly shows. On the second night, I posted a photo, not for them, for me.
My keys, glowing in sunlight, holding a wonky sandcastle.
No captions, no explanation. I knew they saw it. They didn't comment.
On the third night, Dad messaged.
Did you sell the car? No hello, no sorry, no mention of his crash, the woman, the tires, the silence. I didn't reply. I already had. Back home, I sold the Civic in a week. Used the money to clear a lingering credit card and saved the rest. Katie texted a week later.
Guess you're done caring.
I didn't respond.
I'm not pretending anymore.
I care about what counts. My kids. Our life. The light in their eyes when they feel secure. The space I've carved out without anyone's permission. I used to wonder what it'd take for them to see me differently.
Tout respect me.
Now I don't care if they ever do. They had their shot to be part of our story. They chose not to be. The update. Months have passed since the fallout with my family. Winter faded to spring, then to summer heat, and that tight knot in my chest is gone. The one that made me feel I was lacking, or about to be blamed again. The kids are thriving. My 5-year-old asks about stars, ants, and why people aren't honest. My 3-year-old learned to whisper instead of shout, a small victory in our home. Our mornings are loud, messy, and ours. I wasn't going to share more. I thought the story was done. But last weekend, something unexpected happened. I was in the grocery store, steering the cart with one hand, stopping my toddler from tossing apple.
With the odor.
Then I saw her. My mom. She looked diminished, less put together. Her basket held just 3 items, 2 oranges and a frozen meal. She saw me before I could turn.
Ora Isme.
She approached slowly, like she wasn't sure I'd let her near. She didn't ask how I was. She didn't mention the past. Instead, she pulled a folded note from her pocket. She said, "I don't expect a response. Just please read it." I nodded, took it, and left. I didn't open it that night. It sat on my counter for a day. Then another. On the 3rd night, with the kids asleep, I unfolded it. Her handwriting was neat, careful.
Nos big apologies, nos dramatiques plis.
Just her saying she didn't get it before, thought my strength meant I didn't need them. She regretted how it all went down but understood why I stepped back. She didn't ask for reconciliation. Just said she missed me.
And the keys.
It hit harder than I expected. I haven't replied.
I'm not sure if you will. Maybe one day.
But now, I'm guarding what I've built. The calm.
The space.
The safety my kids and I have.
Cathy sent un message tout. A weird, vague photo of a makeup palette with back to it. No context, no word.
I didn't respond. I'm not ready to act like it's all fine. I don't think I ever will be. I'm focused on us. I booked the speech therapist I delayed for ages. Found a night gig I can do from home. I'm planning a full road trip, just us 3. I don't know what's next. Maybe there won't be another update. Maybe life will just keep moving quietly, as it should have. But to everyone who's read this, who messaged, who quietly cheered me on, thank you. Really. You made me feel visible when I thought I was unseen. Whatever comes, we're good. We truly are. He asked me to wear the blue dress he adored, saying he wanted the night to be unforgettable. I was moved by his effort to create a romantic evening. 2 days before Valentine's Day, Derek texted about a surprise he'd been working on. My friends wondered if it might be a proposal, though I tried to keep my expectations in check. Still, everything seemed to point that way. The upscale restaurant, his recent secrecy, the hints from his family. Valentine's Day came. Derek suggested meeting at the restaurant instead of driving together, citing a possible late work meeting but insisting we keep our reservation. I agreed, excited yet nervous about what the night might hold. I arrived at La Rosa 15 minutes early. The host escorted me to a prominent table in the center, surrounded by other couples. Derek arrived promptly, ordering wine right away, seeming both jittery and thrilled. Dinner was perfect, our conversation flowing easily as we reminisced about our time together and shared future aspirations. After the main course, Derek grew noticeably anxious, subtly checking his pocket. A nearby couple's engagement sparked applause across the restaurant. Derek watched with an odd focus, then took a deep breath. My heart raced. When dessert was served, Derek stood abruptly. "Everyone," he declared loudly, "I have something to say." He knelt beside me. The room fell silent. Phones emerged to capture what everyone assumed was a proposal. The staff paused, smiling in anticipation. A whisper nearby, "He's proposing." Derek took my hand. Looking into my eyes, he said clearly, "I'm tired of pretending you're worth my love. You're pathetic." The restaurant went deathly quiet. Derek stood and continued, "I've wasted 3 years trying to change you. I'm finished." He grabbed his jacket and left. A server approached with our $374 bill. Stunned, I left the restaurant, unable to comprehend what had happened. At home, I found Derek had cleared his belongings from our shared apartment.